What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics. And today we got a reaction to David Gray and his album White Ladder, brought to us by friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, Trucker Kev. Thank you, Trucker Kev. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below or the Patreon link on the end screen. We could not do without the patrons. Do a bunch of cool stuff over there. You can go check out a free trial if you would like. All right, let's jump into this. Trucker Kev knows a ton about music. I don't know much about David Gray to say that I think I know one of these songs because he never hit it big here in the United States at all, but he's massive in other areas of the world. So Kev says this is an album that still reverberates with many people. When it first came out, so many people likened it to the similarities of Van Morrison's Astral Weeks. They were definitely correct in their assumption, especially the album closer, the 9-minute Say Hello, Wave Goodbye, which that's at the end. You'll see at the end of this reaction what I think of that. I'm not a huge fan of long songs, but sometimes they hit with me. However, when this album first came out, it was released, I believe, in Ireland, and it charted very well. Then a few years later, it was released worldwide and went straight through the roof. Critics loved it. It sold and continues to sell to this day. Also, it launched single after single up the charts worldwide on different kinds of album and music charts. He did have success in the U.S. on some of the off singles charts, not the Hot 100, but he did on some others. I'm going to go ahead and give away Kev's Gray. This is another one of those that start to finish, I enjoy it still from all the way through. There are just way too many favorites on this one. It's just fantastic. I give it a 9.0 still after over 20 years. Even David says in interviews to this day that this will be an album that will always be with me and never go away, and he's right. He said the way the album connected with people is just absolutely phenomenal, and yes, it's very true. The songwriting is just top-notch all the way. The production's fantastic. It had a few videos on MTV back in the day, or one of those channels that still played music then. Maybe it was VH1, LOL. It's probably right. It probably was VH1. 20 years ago, MTV was probably not playing music videos, which is still insane, but that's another discussion. So, well, the funniest thing is it still holds one of the best-selling albums in Ireland here in 2024, and they say 1 in every 4 households in Ireland has this album still. What this did for more people with the style genre that I don't really care for in the 2000s. So people like James Blunt, Ed Sheeran, etc. paved the way for many of them. I have some things I found from different articles. David Gray was once renowned for how famous he wasn't. A singer-songwriter, denied mainstream success in a way that registered as injustice by his cult of fans and admirers. Abandoned by EMI after 1996 self-deprecatingly titled Sell, 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 did the exact opposite. The British musician recorded his 4th album, White Ladder, in his apartment and released it on his own IHT label. The record subsequently achieved the rarefied level of ubiquity where its omnipresence became one of its defining characteristics. It's his 4th studio album. It was released in November of 1998, originally, through Gray's own record label, IHT Records, but failed to chart. About a year and a half later, April 24, 2000, the album was re-released by Dave Matthews' label, ATO Records. It was his first release on that. It was their first release, and debuted at number 69 in the UK albums charts before climbing to number 5 in August of 2001, more than a year later. It produced 5 singles, including the hit Babylon, which is the song I think I know, which ignited interest in the album and shot Gray to worldwide fame. Other singles released in the album were This Year's Love, Please Forgive Me, Sail Away, and Say Hello, Wave Goodbye. White Ladder spent almost 3 full years on the UK Top 100, consistently charting between May 2000 and March 2003. Its total charting time as of 2020, because a lot of times these things aren't updated, right, was 176 weeks, making it one of the longest charting albums in UK chart history. It was massively successful in Ireland, where it spent 6 consecutive weeks at number 1 and sold 350,000 copies by 2002. In 2015, it was still the biggest selling album of all time in that country. It was the 5th best-selling album of the 2000s in the UK, with almost 3 million albums sold. The album has sold over 3 million copies in the UK, making it the country's 11th best-selling album of the 21st century. But get this, the 28th best-selling album of all time in the UK. Think about that. Think about the mass sales of albums previous this century, and it's 28th all time. It sold over 7 million copies worldwide. NME gave it a 6 out of 10, Pitchfork 7.9 out of 10. He did get a Grammy nomination in the US for Best New Artist. All tracks are written by David Gray, unless otherwise noted. If you haven't been with us before, or if you have, just a reminder, the music will not be in the video, but it will be at a Vimeo link below. So click on that, follow along with me. Let's get started. With the opening track, Please Forgive Me. Originally, it went to number 72 on the charts, but on the re-release of the album, it went to number 18. You have David on vocals, guitar, piano, keyboards, production, and then Craig McClune on bass, keyboards, and drums. So 2 guys banging this thing out. I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Trucker Kev. All right, please forgive me. Exactly kind of what I thought I was going to get with this album. Really good songwriting. Verse 4, just to give you an idea, I got half a mind to scream out loud. I got half a mind to die. So won't ever have to lose you, girl. Won't ever have to say goodbye. Won't ever have to lie. Won't ever have to say goodbye. So, this song's about how much he loves her and doesn't ever want to lose her. But instrumentation is nice. It's low key, right? The arrangement is. And I think that's probably what most of these songs are going to be, because it's about the lyricism, which is fantastic, and David delivers it well. Now we'll go to the only song I think I know of here, Babylon, described as his signature song. Number 5 in the UK, 57 in the US. Just a really good song. Talking about Babylon as in the exile. He's away from this girl that he cares about, and he screwed up. I think the first verse tells you maybe his friends or someone else led him to get away from the relationships and wish he could have it back. But I think we're going to get this theme in the album. The arrangements understated. Good guitar work on here. And, David's voice, he doesn't have this like great, fantastic voice, but he has a very good voice, and it works for this kind of music because he pulls you right in. He's telling you a story, man. So really good. That's just about the end of my notes on these songs. We got My Oh My. All right, David's going through it here. He even says in the chorus, takes a lot of love, my friend, to keep your heart from freezing, to push on till the end. So he's heartbroken. I'll just say on this song, this song did not hit with me. I did not like the arrangement. I did not like the vocal delivery of the chorus, but I could see why others like it, and not every song is going to hit. Next up, we got We're Not Right. All right, We're Not Right. It's about alcoholism, right? Even in the verse 2, I see this world, but I can't relate, and everything must accelerate. Betty Ford, oh, won't you be my Valentine? We can't tell the bottle from the mountaintop. No, we're not right. And I like the way that like harmonies come in on that part. Betty Ford, for people of my age or Trucker Kev's age, it means a lot. Betty Ford clinic to get, it's like the first big clinic that stars would go to get right from alcohol and drug use. But I like this song. If I had to give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, I'd give it a slight thumbs up. What I didn't like about it is all the electronica stuff. It starts out that way and it comes back throughout the song. I don't have any problem with electronica music, but if you strip that out, it's almost like a country arrangement, which would have been perfect for this song. But so it kind of seems like a song that was confused on arrangement, but super well written. Next up, we have Night Blindness. Night Blindness, kind of things are just going wrong in David's life, right? Of course, what are we going to do when the money runs out? I wish there was something left to say. Where are we going to find the eyes to see a brighter day? Sick of all the same old answers, last chances, cold stones, all these different things. So back to a more traditional dialed back arrangement. So I thought this song worked. All right, we're halfway through the album, songs-wise, not time-wise. We've got Silver Lining. All right, Silver Lining, a song about we're born, right? And everything is positive. Right? We're born with our eyes open and everything is positive. But then the world beats us down, right? Of course, we were born with our eyes open, so alive with wild hope. Now, can you tell me why time after time they drag you down in the darkness deep? Fools in their madness all around. Know that the light don't sleep. So trying to give encouragement, but in this world it's hard, right? Because it will beat you down if you allow it to, and it tries really hard to. Now we got the title track. All right, the title track. Not exactly positive what it's about. I kept looking at those lyrics. I'm sure it will come to me, and I'm sure many of you know what it's about. It's another song like My Oh My that just doesn't hit with me, but it's a great name for an album as I'm looking through all this. I mean, Babylon would be a good name for this album as well, not just because it's a fantastic song. Now I come up to another song that I think I actually do know this song, This Year's Love. It's actually the most streamed song on here over Babylon, because a lot of these songs went to 20 in the UK, 27 in Ireland. They'll be on TV shows and movies, mainly TV shows, this type of music. So I'm not sure I've heard this, but man, the title sounds familiar. This Year's Love, a great song, and I think fantastic arrangement with really just a piano in there, and a few little instruments coming in there just to support, but mainly just the piano. I thought this is a vocal performance of the album, and just a fantastic song. You feel his pain because he loves this girl. You get the impression she doesn't treat him exactly right, but he's going to go back to her no matter what because he loves her. This Year's Love better last because he's tired of the heartbreak, but fantastic song. We got 2 songs left. We got Sail Away, 26 in the UK, 31 in Ireland. Sail Away. Shout out to the whistling, man. Whenever somebody brings whistling into a song, I always admire it because you got to recreate that in concert, right? Shout out to the Scorpions, Winds of Change, one of the best examples of it. He's asking her to get away with him, right? Sail away. Don't break his heart, but sail away. Let's get away from all these problems. Pretty catchy, good arrangement. We're up to the almost 9-minute closer. Say Hello, Wave Goodbye. It's a cover of a song by the English synth pop duo Soft Cell, Tainted Love, right? The original version appears on their album Nonstop Erotic Cabaret in 1981. David's version contains lines from Van Morrison's Into the Mystic and Madame George, which we have song reactions of both of those up, which is why Morrison's also credited as a co-writer. Gray has admitted that he got the idea of doing an acoustic cover of the song after hearing the UK duo The Chameleons, who are very underrated and fantastic, right? Play it live. Let's finish this thing out. Say Hello, Wave Goodbye. An absolutely fantastic song. I told you at the start we'd see what I thought of it because it's so long. I think it's the best song on this album. Fantastic vocal performance. Fantastic. I told you a few songs ago, This Year's Love was his best vocal performance. This one is, I can't imagine this being a soft sell song. It's so well written. And I'll get to the Van Morrison part. It's just in the outro that he uses. It channels the two Van Morrison songs. But, I mean, the song is so well written. So basically, our protagonist falls in love with this waitress, but then eventually figures out she's not the girl for him. He's going to go find some nice girl who will make a good wife. And so that's where he tells her, the whole say hello, wave goodbye. It's just so well done. It's just the outro. We were born before the wind. Who were we to understand? We were born before the wind. Say goodbye. That's from, of course, Into the Mystic from the Moondance album. And then Through the Rain, Hail, Sleet, and Snow, Say Goodbye. Get on the Train, Train, Train. Say Goodbye. That's from Madame George from Van Morrison. So that's just in the outro, but a great way to finish this album. Now we'll get to my favorite tracks. Please Forgive Me, the opening track being honorable mention. And my faves are going to kind of be, right, obvious, but Babylon, This Year's Love, and Say Hello, Wave Goodbye. Now we'll get to my overall score. I think this is a good album. I'm really glad Kev brought it to me, especially since it's so renowned in other parts of the world, but not so much here in the U.S. I like it. I think a few of the songs suffer from arrangement issues, but I get it, man. You're trying to figure out, you don't want it to all sound the same, so you're trying to figure some things out in there. And I'm sure on repeated listens, those songs probably grow on you because they do stand out arrangement-wise from a lot of the other songs on here. I also feel like a few of the songs were a bit too long. Actually, ironically, not Say Hello, Wave Goodbye, but I thought they became too repetitive or monotonous a little bit. But what do I know, right? Because look at the sales numbers on this thing. Still think it's a really good album. It's going to be a 7.5 for me. Remember, Kev has it as a 9, but Kev's got 20 years of listening to this album, and I got one time. So let me know what you think of this album down below. You can tell me how wrong I am. I get it. What are your favorite songs from here? And what else should I check out from David Gray? Thanks again to Trucker Kev for bringing this one. Until next time, guys, I will see you.